Hi guys. I know that often we hear that bathrooms are a really great place to put our tropical indoor plants. And why is that? And is it true? Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of my bathrooms. I can't even believe I'm doing that, but I am. You asked. So I'm going to show you my plants, and then I'm also going to be just kind of going through some tips for what you should be thinking about if you are going to be putting plants in your bathroom. And we're going to get kind of to the bottom of what plants are really good to put in a bathroom, and should you have some in yours. Here's where I ask for your support. If you would please like this video and give me a subscribe below, that would mean the world to me. It lets YouTube know that you are super interested, and it really just helps me out. All right, here we go. All right, so here we are in my bathroom. It's very echoey. I know the sound is probably crazy. The first thing you need to think about when you are choosing a plant for your bathroom is to think about the lighting. So many people ask me, is there a plant that I could put in my bathroom that will live without a window in that room? No, yes. Definitely a fake plant would work. No shame. No shame if you got to go a fake plant with a room with no light. Also, you could get a very, very low light plant, but it might not make it very long. You know, we all need light. What are you growing in your bathroom? Do you have any plants in your bathroom? Tell me, if you're lucky enough to have a lot of light, what you're growing and what you are growing if you have low light in your bathroom. So if you are like me, I have this tiny small window over here. It's a very typical bathroom size window. I am still grateful for it because it does face southeast. So I do get a fair amount of light, but because the surfaces where I have the plants, you can see I have a couple over here, and I do have one down here on the sink top. They're kind of far away from the bathroom. They're probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 feet away from the bathroom. That's quite a long distance from any window, particularly a smaller window that is also frosted glass. But you can see here I have a Maranta. This is a red leaf Maranta, and it does very well in medium light. This gets a little bit of bright light in the morning because of that eastern exposure. And it does okay. You can see that it's a little bit crispy. It definitely needs to be maintained. It does brown, and actually one of my stems, you can see right there, completely died out. I need to trim it up. You guys are gonna see the whole thing. You're seeing my bathrooms, and you're seeing all of my, plants as they are. Plants are imperfect, as we are as well. So over here, I do have some philodendron, and they do quite well in medium to low light. These things, while they're not vigorous growers, they do grow pretty well where they're sitting there. So I'm getting new growth. I got new growth all winter long. I don't water them a ton because, again, if they're not getting a lot of light, they're not gonna photosynthesis. So you don't want to drown them because they won't be able to take up that water. So consider the light. The light is really important. Also, this moonshine sansevieria does really well over here. This one leaf doesn't look super great, but that's just because, I don't know if you saw it over on Instagram in my stories. It's saved in there somewhere, I think, in repotting. It wasn't doing really well. I had saved it from root rot. So these are kind of the last of the sad leaves that aren't making it, but it does have some new growth, and I'm super happy with where it's at. Obviously, it doesn't have a cover pot yet. Don't judge. Don't judge. I haven't found one to fit in that little spot. Nobody really sees it anyways. I did have, you can see I have a little hook. Can you see it above my head? I had a hook up there. I had tried to grow a fern in there and also a pothos, but that is really far from the window. I would say that that's probably 12 feet from the window, and it just didn't do well. I love the idea of showering with plants, but it just, it was not working out. I definitely am sorry to those plants because they didn't make it. They didn't make it in my shower. That's it. I don't have a lot of plants in here, which is surprising. I have fully intended to hang plants and to put more plants in this bathroom, but I have to consider if I'm going to be putting plants all the way at the back of the room, I can't put a lot of plants here in the front of the room because that's going to shade the plants in the back. Does that make sense? So you really have to consider that in the lighting in any kind of room. If you're going to be taking up the light and making shade for the other plants, you got to be really careful. So I haven't been wanting to put too many hanging plants because I haven't wanted to shade the back plants. All right, let's go check out the hall bathroom. So I'm here in the kids' bathroom in the hallway, and I'm super fortunate. I know you could probably tell already, it's much brighter in here. I have two windows, and they're much larger than the window in my bathroom. So there's more plants in here. And it's also very humid in this bathroom. There's more people showering in here. And humidity is exactly why people place their plants in the bathroom, right? Plants love high humidity. There's not very many plants that don't. The plants that really are gonna really want that humidity are like the calatheas, the stramanthe, the marantas, the ferns. Those are all plants that really love that extra humidity. But all plants, any of your jungle, tropical house plants are going to love that high humidity. You can see I definitely have my calatheas in here. This is the calathea zone, maranta zone. They all live together in here and keep each other happy. Now, another thing you're going to want to consider is your bathroom size, right? Oh my God, what I would give for large bathrooms. So you really want to consider plants that aren't going to get that much bigger. So again, these calatheas and marantas, they're not going to grow terribly big. Now, what's funny is I do have an orbifolia in here, but it is still really small. So we'll see what happens when that calathea gets to its full potential and the kids are sharing a bathroom with a plant that's bigger than they are. I'm not sure if they're gonna like it, but what do they know? I like to group all of my maranta and calathea together because it just also increases that humidity for them. But we'll see if I can make it work. I'll be getting creative for sure. Now, another thing to think about, obviously something that I have to think about, and it might be for you as well, but who are you sharing your bathroom with? They are small spaces, and oftentimes we're sharing them with our loved ones or our roommates, and so you really need to consider how much space they are taking up. I haven't had too many complaints yet, so. And another thing you're gonna wanna consider too with bathrooms, and this is more for the people in northern or colder climates, is bathrooms can get fairly cold with the tile, and if they're not heated, they get very cold in the winter. So you need to consider that, like when people are showering, it'll get warm and humid, and then it might get really cold as well. So you just might want to consider that. What is the temperature swing in your bathroom? So the question is the bathroom a great place for plants? I mean, as with most things, it really depends. It depends on your light. It depends on the temperature in your home, and it depends on how much space you have. I mean, if you are blessed with great light and a great big room, go crazy. I'm trying to go crazy in my small spaces. So, you know, if you have a small space with okay light, try it too. But bathrooms can be rather tricky places to grow plants. So if it's not going well for you, don't feel bad. The low light and the temperature swings can be just kind of difficult conditions for your plant. That's it for the very quick tour of my bathrooms, friends. I cannot believe I just showed you all my bathrooms, but I guess that means we're now like best friends. If you are looking for more plant tips and more plant content, head over to Instagram. I update my feed throughout the week and stories and all that kind of stuff. You can go check me out over there. And if you haven't, right now is the time. You can subscribe right here and check out these other couple videos. You guys, I'm super grateful that you're here. I'm super grateful that you're chilling out with me, checking out my bathrooms. If that's not just kind of weird, I don't know what is. But thanks for being here. And I will see you guys next Friday.